Howdy. Welcome to the 2020 Traveling Aggies Reunion. We are so glad you're here. Thank you for joining us.
This year hasn't been what any of us expected. We are so disappointed that we didn't have the opportunity to travel with many of you, and are sad that we can't all be gathered here tonight in Aggieland to celebrate and reminisce our many adventures.
2020 has not been the year we had hoped for or expected. However, the Traveling Aggies' safety and security is our #1 priority. We very much look forward to seeing you here in Aggieland or on a trip in the very near future.
We have a very exciting lineup of trips for 2021 that we just know will have you ready to pack your bags. Until then, let's hear from a few of our travelers about their wonderful experiences thus far.
Well, after we finished paying for our kids' educations, we wanted to travel. And we saw the first trip we went on was to Prague. It started in Prague, and Larry's heritage is Czech. And once we went on our first trip with the Aggies, we were hooked. We've been traveling with them ever since. And I think that was about 2005.
Something like that.
My son, who lives here in College Station and is attending the law school, told us when we were looking at international trips that we needed to check out what the Traveling Aggies had to offer. And we did.
And our first trip was a trip to Scotland, which we combined with a visit to Laura's cousin, who lives in Glasgow. Laura's mother originally comes from Scotland, so that was an exciting trip.
Howdy folks, it's Bob Carpenter here with AHI Travel. Disappointed I can't be in College Station with you this year for this great annual event, but I'm delighted that we can take part of it virtually from my back porch. We've got 16 programs with Traveling Aggies for 2021, some classic destinations, some new ones, and 5 of our Alumni Campus Abroad programs. We're going to touch on a few of them. Don't worry, we're not going to go through all 16 in the limited time we have available. And the really good news is you're not going to have to listen to me the whole time, because I've recruited 2 of our dynamic and very talented travel directors to help me out. First up is going to be Ashraf Massoud from Cairo, Egypt, and then it's going to be Emiliano Rio from Buenos Aires. So, Ashraf, take it away.
Howdy. Marhaban bikum Aggies fi Misr. This means welcome to Egypt, our dear Aggies. My name is Ashraf. I am one of AHI travel directors. I lead tours in many places, on the top of the list, Egypt, my beloved country. AHI offers an exciting, educational, one-of-a-kind program that includes lots of sites you will not see in any other tours. Where I'm standing, you're going to start your program by visiting the Egyptian Museum. Here, you are going to feast your eyes on more than 5,000 years of civilization in one place. We will have the chance to explore the only surviving wonder of the ancient world, the Great Pyramid at Giza Plateau. While there, you're going to have the chance to ride a camel, an all-time favorite moment for the Aggies. The crown jewel of the program is Upper Egypt. You will enjoy observing the daily life of the Egyptians on both banks of the River Nile while cruising. To mention some of the highlights of the sites that we're going to see, you're going to explore the largest archaeological site on Earth, Karnak Temple. You will be astonished when you visit the almost complete preserved temple, Edfu Temple, and I cannot wait to see your jaw drop when you will see Abu Simbel Temple for the first time. I consider it the 8th wonder of the world. Rest assured that the Egyptian government has implemented a very strong protocol in order to secure the safety of our dear guests. That includes wearing masks and as well social distancing. I was sanitized and my forehead was scanned before I get into the Egyptian Museum. Before I go, I would love to introduce my colleague and brother, Emiliano. And it looks sunny outside, so I will put on my Aggies hat. Looking forward to see you in Egypt. Salam.
Howdy to all my Aggie friends out there. This is Emmy from
the Argentinian Pampas. 15 years and counting, an AHI family member had the chance to travel all over the world. And I do have to say that one of my best recommendations when you get to know a new place, city, or country is to do it by boat. There's something special about those cities that have a connection with the body of water, especially rivers. And when we think of Europe, we think of the rivers as the veins that go through the continent. Whether it's Amsterdam, Potsdam, Berlin, Bruges, or any town connected to the river, there's something magical about it. InnoSafe is one of the best ways you have in order to get the most out of your trip, to optimize your time. First of all, because you sail at night, and every single day you're going to be waking up in a different city, in a different town. So the timing, the amount of things you're going to see in such a period of time, it is quite unique. I usually tell my guests that the way you think of a trip as a successful trip is when you look back and every day you see something unique and different. And that is the case with the river cruises, because we never stay one more night in one place, we're always moving. One amazing fact about it is that you pack only once. So you have your comfort zone, you have your cabin, and we take care of taking you from one place to the other. In addition to that, in all of the ships, the crew are fantastic. There's menus selected depending on the destination, where you will be able not only to visit and learn about the different places, but also taste the different places, or learn through the food and the wines. And what makes it quite unique is that almost every night you're going to have a different show on board. In other words, the only challenge you will have will be to decide whether you want to visit a museum in Amsterdam, ride a bike next to the Elbe, visit a winery on the Rhine, or do your Christmas shopping with a glühwein in one of our Christmas markets. For the rest, we'll take care of that. I sincerely hope to see you on the road soon, and we'll go back to Bob.
Thanks, Emmy. Thanks, Ashraf. That concludes our presentation. We appreciate your attention, appreciate the trust you put in us when you travel. And please know this, when you're ready to go, we're going to be ready to get you there. Stay safe. Giggle.
Oh, I think the South Africa trip, it was the preserve that we went to, Thorny Bush, was outstanding. Everybody was so nice and accommodating. It was really awesome. The thing that I thought was the most beautiful was Victoria Falls. I thought it was outstanding.
Yeah, that was
with the mist coming up.
That was,
and
that was amazing. And to me also, just to see all the animals up really close. I mean, I had no idea that we would get as close as we were to lions and leopards and elephants. And I mean, it was just, it was really amazing.
Our trip took us to we started out in Cape Town and then went to Johannesburg, and then we spent 3 nights on a train that was absolutely superb luxury. The scenery, the animals, they took you right up close and personal. The guides are spectacular. They know how to read these animals quite well. And we got out of there just in time.
Howdy traveling Aggies, this is Herbie from Czech Europe Travel. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be in College Station with you, which was always so much fun, but the situation right now just makes us use other measures to still be able to communicate. We're delighted to be able to travel with the Traveling Aggies again in 2021, and I wanted to introduce you to a couple of the trips that we're doing. We're doing our standards with Oktoberfest and St. Paddy's Day again, and also 2 trips for the young alumni. One going to my backyard to Austria, and the other one to Spain in the fall. So hopefully this will give you a short overview of what you can look forward to traveling to in 2021.
The Island of the Leprechauns is on our travel schedule for next March. We're starting out in Dublin and make our way to the southwest, visiting beautiful castles, national parks, drive up the wild Atlantic Way past the cliffs of Moher, and look out for the perfect pint and the best whiskey on the Green Island. We're going to celebrate St. Paddy's Day in Galway with the funniest people in the world to do that, the Irish. Welcome to Austria, young alumni travelers. We're starting in Vienna, heading to the Alps, and finish our trip in Salzburg. We'll check out the best Wiener Schnitzel, followed by chocolate cake, have our own schnapps sampling in the middle of the mountains, and finish our trip following the Von Trapps on the Sound of Music. I can't believe they cancelled Oktoberfest this year, but oh well, we'll be back next year for the 10-year anniversary trip of the Aggies at Oktoberfest. This time we're gonna start out in Prague and make our way into Vienna, and then towards the end we'll be in Munich partying with the best of the world. Prost! Let's get the best out of Spain this fall with our second Young Alumni Tour. We're gonna be starting in Barcelona, heading up Las Ramblas, having some delicious sangria and tapas, making our way down to Valencia on the northeastern coast, and then end in Sevilla, the best city of Andalusia.
Thank you, Traveling Aggies, for letting me and my company, Czech Europe, being part of your travel program. It's been a blast in the last 10 years, and this is just going to be the start of a new travel decade in 2021. So thanks and gigam!
France. Paris, for the first time I actually read the list of required reading, and it was incredible, and it prepared us for a really nice experience in Paris. And I liked river cruise. That's my very favorite way to travel through Europe.
I would say the Holland trip for me was one of the best because I lived there for a year as a kid. It was nice to go back and see some of the same areas and try to relearn my Dutch and that kind of stuff.
And
so,
the
yeah.
flowers were incredible that year. Even though everyone told us, oh, it's hit or miss, you might not, the flowers were incredible at Keukenhall. So it was a lovely trip.
Yeah.
Well, I think on Australia, New Zealand, we had the opportunity to go to his favorite winery in the whole world and have a private tasting. And, you know, it was right there in the bay that we stopped at. And I could plan that in advance, and it was Napa without any people around, which was pretty cool.
And as great as that
I mean, that was beautiful because you're sitting in this beautiful vineyard in New Zealand, and just you and the birds and the wine.
As great as that was, near Churchill, or I think it's Churchill, we did a nature walk, and we walked through this forest with these 400-year-old trees.
Oh, Bay of Islands, New Zealand.
Was that it?
Yeah, Bay of Islands, New Zealand.
And it was Bay of Islands, New Zealand. We walked through this forest with these 400-year-old trees. The 700-year-old trees were on the top of the mountain. We didn't make it up there. And you just stand in amazement at these things.
Well, one of the things on our recent trip when we went to the Netherlands was going to the gardens and just driving in and seeing those fields of flowers in full bloom of multiple colors was the most beautiful thing that you really can't capture in a picture. But it was fantastic. The bus driver we had lived in that area, so I think he took us in a little different way so we saw more things. That was one thing that sticks out in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Howdy, and welcome to Chicago, the global headquarters of Thomas P. Gohagen and Company, which has been providing distinguished alumni travel for 35 years. With the knowledge and insight of over 3 decades in the travel industry, Gohagen and Company continues to develop deluxe educational travel programs. Howdy, my name is Robert Bingle. I'm a sales director at Gohagen and Company. Thank you for having us to your virtual travel reunion, and thanks for letting us continue our decades-long partnership with the Traveling Aggies. In a previous role, I was actually a travel director and traveled with many Aggies. I always remember fondly my discussions about the architecture in Bern in Switzerland, or why the Wrecking Crew was the best defense in the 90s college football. I'd like to take the opportunity to speak about a few programs that we'll be offering with the Traveling Aggies in 2021. You'll see that these programs feature some of our distinctive characteristics as a company. For one, for 35 years we've been committed to in-depth educational travel with academic experts and lecture series. Another, when we cruise, we fully charter luxury ships. This allows us to produce one-of-a-kind itineraries, call in ports inaccessible to larger ships, and have our lecture series and our village life forums. The first trip we'll be offering is the May 2nd, 2021 European Coastal Civilizations program. As you cruise the English Channel, Dwight David Eisenhower II, noted historian and grandson of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, will provide exclusive lectures about the D-Day invasion and his personal experiences with his grandfather. The next morning, you'll walk the beaches with Professor Eisenhower and have the opportunity to join a moving ceremony and tribute at the American Military Cemetery. This unforgettable experience follows days exploring the coastal cities and countryside of Iberia, the wines of Oporto, the pilgrimage site of Santiago de Compostela, the art of Bilbao, the dramatic tides surrounding the monastery of Mont Saint-Michel. The program culminates in an extraordinary cruise up the Thames River to London. As the bridges of London raise before you, Londoners might look down, wondering what celebrity is on board. Maybe Lyle Lovett, or the famous traveling Aggie herself, Jennifer Bohack. The ship docks alongside the Tower of London, where you can walk its historic grounds and grab a pint to reminisce about the previous days. Our next program will be the June 11th through 21st Great Journey Through Europe, featuring a remarkable combination of travel: mountain, river, lake, and 3 of the great railways of Europe. The Gornergratbahn will take you from the idyllic mountain village of Zermatt to the summit of the mighty Matterhorn. The Glacier Express will weave you through the Swiss Alps, past aqueducts and chalets on your way to Lucerne. After a classic Swiss lunch at the top of Mount Pilatus, the steepest cogwheel train in the world will bring you to the shores of Lake Lucerne for a cruise of its waters. After, you might decide to take a refreshing swim and dry off as you walk the Chapel Bridge. After 4 days in the heart of Switzerland, you'll embark on the newly built Amadeus Imperial for a 5-night cruise north on the Rhine River to Amsterdam. Cruise the Lorelei Passage, experience the Alsatian Strasbourg, walk along the shores at the confluence of the Rhine and Moselle rivers, marvel at the imposing Gothic architecture of Cologne, try the sweet wines of Rudesheim, and join a legendary winemaker on his daily routine of unlimited tastings, for quality control, of course. Conclude this great journey at the canals of Amsterdam.
In the fall of 2021, we'll be offering 2 of our signature Village Life programs. On September 16th, visit the Dordogne River Valley. On October 9th, visit the Italian Lakes District surrounding Como.
Stay at the Palace Hotel, ideally located on Lake Como's promenade, just steps from the Marble Duomo and medieval town center. Private boat cruises along the shores of Lake Como, Lake Orta, and Lake Maggiore are coupled with excursions to UNESCO sites like Sacro Monte de Orta, Via del Babbianello, and Isola Bella on the Borromean Islands. A day trip to Milan offers a private viewing of Da Vinci's Last Supper. The French counterpart to our Italian Lakes program will find you in the beautiful Dordogne River Valley of southwestern France. In the tranquil village of Sarlat-la-Canéda, the family-owned Plaza de Madeleine will warmly welcome you back from outings to the cliffside village of Rocamadour and the archaeological site of Les Éblies du Caplin, or the slow cruise down the Dordogne River while enjoying Périgord specialties.
Howdy again. Thanks for letting us share some of our travel programs with you. When you're ready, we'll be ready. Why don't you let us be your 12th man on the road? On behalf of Gohagen and Company, we want to thank the Texas A&M team, Marissa and Jennifer and Amy and Lauren and all the rest. And thank you, traveling Aggies. Wishing you and your families well. Giggle!
I think they're so well organized, and the people that you're traveling with are all very personable, and they come from all walks of life, and they're just, it's just really nice to be able to converse with all different people. We actually are going on our next trip with a couple that we had never met before until the South Africa trip, and they asked us if we would, like to go to the Amazon, and so we signed up to go to the Amazon with them, and we had never met them before, but we just really hit it off really well. And
everything is taken care of for you, and there's very little that is you have to provide or do on your own in order to go on a trip. All you have to do is read the brochure, call them, say, I want to go, and they take care of everything. If somebody gets hurt, we experienced that in Iceland. One of our members was injured the second day there, and the care and the not only of the people in Iceland, but also the A&M traveling organization, who from here all the way to Iceland constantly were communicating, making sure things were taken care of, finding other ways to make it easier for the person that was injured. They take care of you.
was awesome.
Aggies are a special breed of people. We've met so many people that have come to travel with us and keep coming travel because of the bond that Aggies have, but the fact that we have a damn good time.
They have fantastic itineraries. Not being an Aggie, they have fantastic itineraries. They mix just enough history with just enough modern, with just enough of seeing the highlights of a city that it's well worth. I had a friend ask me, who is an Aggie, why do you go on the trips that are pre-planned? Why don't you just do point to point? And I said, well, basically we're lazy and they do all the work. It's awesome. We just show up.
If you want to really see things and learn about them, and you want to feel part of a group before you even walk in the door, go with the Traveling Aggies.
Well, that is true, because you have one thing in common with the Traveling Aggies. And in my particular case, you know, we were all in the Corps Cadets, but a lot of the people that are traveling today are the older guys that were in the Corps, so we have something in common. And that just bonds the group.
The other thing that's happened in the last probably 5 to 8 years is more and more people who actually have nothing in common as far as A&M, but they've met us on trips. And we've kind of taken them under our wing, and they've enjoyed it so much that they have become Traveling Aggies, even though they didn't go to the university. They may not even live in Texas and don't even know what A&M's all about. But they just enjoyed being with us because they felt like, oh my goodness, we'd never met them in our lives, yet they act like they've known us the whole time they've been on this trip.
Howdy, Traveling Aggies. I'm Karen Kuttner-Dimitri with Lindblad Expeditions, and I'm delighted to be here with you today for this very innovative and creative virtual travel reunion. We are proud to continue our partnership with the Traveling Aggies, and we are pleased to announce that they have selected 2 very amazing bucket list signature Lindblad programs, Galapagos and Antarctica. Both programs are each truly a trip of a lifetime. The Antarctica program will be on our 148 guest National Geographic Explorer. She's equipped with an ice-strengthened hull and advanced navigational equipment specifically designed for the polar regions. There are several Aggies already booked, and we still have cabins available for you. In addition, we're also offering the Galapagos, a program that we've been offering at Lindblad for over 50 plus years and several years with the Traveling Aggies. It has truly been an alumni favorite. Both programs are equipped with a roster of tools for exploration, as well as a diverse and talented team of experts to share their knowledge with you. So sit back, relax, Maybe grab a frozen hot chocolate and enjoy a taste of these remarkable programs.
We're going to explore the very best the Antarctic Peninsula has to offer, using everything at our disposal. From the ship, we have kayaks, we have zodiacs, and explore tabular icebergs, the elusive blue whales, the emperor penguins, and of course, killer whales.
Antarctica is breathtaking. It's so beautiful here.
The contrasts in color and light, it's been absolutely breathtaking.
100,000 breeding pairs of Adeles.
I really don't have words to describe it.
This is a leopard seal. Great animal to see on our first day out.
One of the last great pristine places on Earth. It's so foreign and so different to anything we're familiar with back home. It's a visceral feeling of just being here and experiencing it.
This end of the planet is like no other.
For those of you that would prefer a warmer part of the world, join us in the Galapagos this November. We'll show you now a brief video of a day in the life in the Galapagos to give you a good glimpse of what to expect. We hope we've been able to give you a taste of our expeditions and that you'll be able to join your fellow alumni to these remarkable parts of the world. Gig 'em!
So I am an avid collector of Starbucks mugs, and I don't want anybody to ever give me the mug. I have to have physically been there. That's like a big deal to me. It's a quirk. And twice on Traveling Aggies trips, stopped an entire bus of people who were super generous, understood completely, and said, okay. So in the middle of Shanghai traffic, the driver, super nice, stopped the bus, leapt off, got my mug, leapt back on. We just did a repeat in Mumbai, and I happened to be in Mumbai on my birthday. And you know how Starbucks gives you like a free drink on your birthday? I showed them my passport. They're like, absolutely, we'll honor that. And that Starbucks, though, you have to go through some crazy security, like airport level security. But the whole bus, when I got back on, sang me happy birthday, and the guy from the Starbucks followed and did a drink for everybody. So that's to me, that's been a lot of fun.
The people. I mean, you're always going to like who you're traveling with.
It's just friends you haven't met yet.
Yeah, it's a guarantee. We traveled on our own independently for years and went to see all the bucket list places, you know, in Europe and whatever. And we've done the same trip with the Aggies twice just because we wanted to go with the people. So one of our trips is just a redo of the first one.
Hi, I'm Bruce Epstein, president of Odysseys Unlimited. While the world waits for the rhythm of daily life to resume, we're still here. We're here now as we have been for more than 2 decades, through good times and bad, and will be here long into the future. When you're dreaming about travel, and when you're ready to travel, when you're ready to remind the world that we all benefit when we connect with people from other countries and other cultures. When the time is right, we'll be here to host you, along with our experienced tour directors and our trusted travel partners around the world. Whether it's this year or next, we'll be here to lead you to new discoveries, and we'll be here to offer the security of our longtime experience around the world and closer to home, and the security of our risk-free, fully refundable deposits and guaranteed pricing. When the time is right, we'll be here, ready to help you fulfill your travel dreams from the wilds of Alaska to the plains of Africa. We'll be here.
Everybody always asks that, and it's hard to pick one particular one out because everyone is so unique, and we've enjoyed each one that we've gone on. We've enjoyed both the trip and the fact that we're with Aggies and meeting new friends, and then as we've traveled through the years, we see those friends over and over again on different trips.
But I do have to say that the D-Day trip we took a few years ago, it wasn't on one of the anniversaries, but it was on D-Day, and we were there at the National Cemetery and the American Cemetery, and it was just a very touching, very moving experience. Well, there at the cemetery, they had a huge ceremony, and they had all these people from different countries that had participated in the war, in the Allied side mainly. And anyway, all these different countries were there. They had these veterans that had a special place where they let them sit. And we actually had 3 World War II veterans, Aggies, that were on our trip with us. And one of them was actually on the landing on Omaha Beach. And he fully described what went on that day. Very impressive.
So my husband always wants to go on every trip, but he's not like, he doesn't want to necessarily get off those awesome Oceania trips every day, or the ship itself. And when you go on a Traveling Aggies trip, you immediately know that there's going to be a group of friends that you just haven't met yet. And so having that foundation of people that you're immediately going to be able to go do something fun with, share a story with, that's a really special foundation. And you immediately, trade stories of when you were here. On this last trip, I got to host my very first Aggie muster because we were in the middle of the ocean. And so I am class of 85, but I was born in 1963. There was a gentleman on that trip that was class of 63. And so we did muster together. And to me, that was incredible, right? There's no other way other than through an A&M trip that you could have duplicated that kind of situation.
I would tell them that you don't have to worry about a thing. It's everything's handled for you. Just go online and look at all the different trips that they have. And if one of them would has something that you might be interested in, just click on it and take a look at the brochure that you can download.
And the trips are very well organized, and all the people we've had representing A&M that traveled with us have been great. Mostly Jennifer Bohack has been the majority of our trips, but we've also had other people that were just as good. We've had Joy and Amy and Tara and Michael, and I think that's about it. But we like a trip that we don't have to think about what we're doing. They tell us where to go and what to do. Everything's taken care of.
Oh, howdy, y'all. I'm Kimberly, District Sales Manager for Premier World Discovery, and I gotta tell you, we at PWD, we are so happy to partner up with you traveling Aggies. And that reminds me, College Station. Oh yeah, I've been to a game or three, and I gotta tell you, growing up in West Texas like I did, I certainly had to be familiar with the 12-man. As you can see, I'm packing. Where am I going? I'm going to Mama's house, but I wanted to take this opportunity to encourage you to get your bags ready for the Cape Cod and the Islands tour. Now that's going to be departing next year on July 10th, 2021. Traveling Aggies, this is going to be a tour to remember. Why? Because for PWD, this is a top-selling tour. The Traveling Aggies program knew exactly what they were doing when they chose this one. It has it all. After a quick overnight in Boston for a city tour, we head to Cape Cod for 5 nights. You'll see the actual Plymouth Rock and visit Plymouth Plantation. It's a living history museum. Ever wanted to know how things were back in 1627? Get ready to experience it. Oh, and then you'll motor to a cranberry bog. You'll see pools full of these crimson delights. Whew. Next, you'll hop a ferry over to Martha's Vineyard. Many a celebrity and past president sightings here, especially during the summer months. On your tour, you'll see colorful Victorian homes, white sandy beaches, and lighthouses galore. Stop off at Newport, Rhode Island to experience the lavish, the colossal Breakers Mansion. Finally, Nantucket and the Whaling Museum, more lighthouses and landscapes, and a lobster feast. Whew. You aren't just visiting Cape Cod and the Islands, you're experiencing Cape Cod and the Islands. And if that isn't enough, remember this tour departs in July 10th, 2021. Average temperatures in Cape Cod, high 70s, low 80s. Huge difference from the triple digits that we experience here in Texas in July. And here's how you get registered for Cape Cod and the Islands. Simply go to res.premierworlddiscovery.com, type in the web code you see there on the screen, and get ready to have some fun. Don't forget, if you book before December 31st, 2020, your deposit is fully refundable until final payment for absolutely any reason. We want to make sure your investment is protected. So I'm about to head out and get going to Mama's house, but I certainly wanted to say that on behalf of myself and Premier World Discovery, we'd love to thank you Traveling Aggies for trusting us with your vacation plans and future memories. It is great making strong partnerships and lasting long connections within the alumni travel associations. And Texas A&M, you've been right there with us. Thank you so much. Also, make sure you have a blast in Cape Cod. Snap those pictures, enjoy the cool air, and gig 'em!
Oh gosh, 7.
7? Yeah, I think we're 7.
We've been to Italy. We've been to
Holland.
France.
And we're going to Germany in December, and then we're going Germany, Austria, and Switzerland in August of next year.
In August of next year.
And Arizona in February.
And Arizona in February. So you send them, we sign up.
All my life, I wanted to go to Australia and Africa. And so our first trip with the Aggies was to Australia, which was wonderful. It was just great. And then when I went to Tanzania the next year, it's like, oh, maybe that's the best. So I would go back to Africa at the drop of a hat.
Well, it's stress-free, and travel can be stressful. And when you're with the Aggies, so if you have to sell them on something that they can't quite process yet, you know, it's like going to A&M. You can't tell an 18-year-old what the spirit of Aggie Land is. You know, you tell them things that they can process, like you can get a good job and, you know, this and that, and they have good values or whatever. Well, traveling with Aggies, you can't tell them it's about the camaraderie and your oneness with the people and learning about the culture with everyone else. But you can tell them it's stress-free.
And you can tell them about all the perks that the Aggies get from the cruise line, like the happy hours.
So I don't know if it was so much the beauty, but when we did a tour that went through China and Japan, and we stopped, and one of the stops was Hiroshima, and to see and know how many Aggies had been part of the fighting that happened there, it was a special kind of, it was a sad kind of beauty with that, but that was a truly, like, you stopped for a moment and took your breath and realized what had happened, and you said a prayer that it would not happen again. But it was a very quiet moment. And it's interesting, everybody on the tour was quiet. You could tell it had an effect.
I would say for me, Pointe du Hoc in Omaha. But that, given my background, that was probably the most memorable. Not the most beautiful, but the most memorable. So I'm a retired Army officer, 31 years combined active Guard and Reserve time. And of course, a student of history, and especially World War II for a very, very long time. And it was moving just to have to imagine myself in that situation and with those guys and what they went through and to see what they had to go through and understand probably more so than most of what it was like. It was incredible.
Howdy, traveling Aggies. I am Lisa Clapp, the Director of Travel Sales for the National World War II Museum. I wish we were together right now in person in College Station for the annual travel reunion, but I am still excited to have this opportunity to share with you our upcoming tours with Texas A&M this fall and in 2021. We begin this October with a domestic tour, Operation Homefront, right here at our world-class museum in New Orleans. This exclusive tour includes a 3-night stay at our brand new Higgins Hotel right here on the museum campus. The Traveling Aggies sold out their first October date in record time. Due to popular demand, we have added a second date of October 15th. Next year, we'll host the Traveling Aggies on some amazing European tours. Italy, Easy Company, which visits 7 countries, Masters of the Air in England, and perhaps most exciting, the new and exclusive to Texas A&M James Earl Rudder Tour, following this brilliant leader along his wartime path from Normandy through Belgium and into Germany. Right now, we are overlooking the Campaigns of Courage Pavilion, right in the heart of the National World War II Museum. Nathan Hagan, our wonderful travel historian who creates and plans our unique tour offerings, is just inside, ready to tell you all about the wonderful tours the Traveling Aggies have selected for 2021. Let's go join Nathan in the Road to Berlin galleries.
The highlight of the 2021 Aggies touring season with the National World War II Museum is our June 3 to 15 tour, James Earl Rudder, Leadership on the Battlefield of Europe, taking you from Normandy to the liberation of Paris, into the Hürtgen Forest near Aachen, Germany, and closing out in the Battle of the Bulge, where Rudder's 109th Regiment of the 28th Division held fast against the German surprise assault on their road to Bastogne. This German siege of Bastogne could not have been protected by the 101st Airborne without the 28th Division standing in the way and James Earl Rudder's leadership. Most tours that go to Italy go there for the food and the wine, and we're doing that too, but it's also a way to pay tribute to the war in Europe's secondary front, a front that sort of lost its luster after the invasion of Normandy. Rome's liberated on June 4th, 1944, but that doesn't end the fighting in Italy. The Americans pursue up toward Florence and hope to get to Bologna, but standing in the way is rough mountainous terrain that coins the phrase mud, mountains, and mules. Join us in October as we go and journey into the Gothic line on our Italy 1944 tour. Our May 12 to 19 tour in England, called Masters of the Air, pays tribute to the Bomber Boys, those men of the 8th Air Force who flew out of their bases near Cambridge and Norwich. You could call those probably the busiest skies in the world of World War II. Different from other battlefield tours, you're not going to the battlefields, you're going to be visiting the places where those guys lived, where they worked, and sometimes where they drank and partied and tried to find a date for their next dance. In September, take part in the World War II Museum's most popular tour as you journey from England all the way to Germany's Eagle's Nest with Easy Company, E Company, 506th Regiment, 101st Airborne Division. And to tell you more about it, actor Ross McCall, who plays Joseph Liebgott in the Band of Brothers miniseries, will tell you about his experience in traveling with the museum.
I think I've done 4 of them, and they've all been breathtakingly special. Each of them have given me more information, more historical insight, stuff that I wasn't even aware of when we shot the show. So it's just been beautiful for me to be able to go back and revisit these great men's steps. Obviously on the tours you have the wonderful historians who tell you everything related to the history, and what we bring is a little bit of Hollywood. We sort of answer the questions and tell you some tales of behind the scenes stuff. On the show that we shot 20 years ago, crazy that we still remember everything, but it's such a joy to be a part of it.
I hope you enjoyed hearing about the powerful and educational tours we have to offer you in 2021. We are now in the Higgins Hotel, waiting eagerly for your arrival this fall for our Operation Homefront Tour. Come see the #1 attraction in New Orleans and dive into history prior to your European tour in 2021. We have some really special behind-the-scenes experiences planned for you in this world-class institution. Thank you for taking the time to learn a little more about the National World War II Museum and our educational travel programs. We are so proud to partner with Texas A&M and enjoy sharing stories of the greatest generations with traveling Aggies all over the world.
Gig 'em. Gig 'em, Aggies.
Gig 'em.
Gig 'em. Gig 'em.
Gig 'em.